Greetings, men and gentle ladies. I'm the man with the inside voice to all inside voices, Anonymous, or just Anony for short. So while taking a break from this Painter Camp, I decided to look at some other indie inspired shows, because believe it or not, this Painter Camp isn't the only one. One of these is Los Juegos del Drama, or for the closest English translation, the games of drama slash the drama games, and it's pretty neat so far. The animation, one of the greatest in the world, has its own charm, and the cast is quite vast and interesting, at least in my opinion. Now, there are surprising things to talk about here. What challenges we could see, how long the series could last, whether the android girl will become the main antagonist. Oh yeah, there's an android girl, forgot to mention that. And how stacked this cast actually is, but there's one thing about all else that I believe everyone wants to know. Who will be the first boot of the season? Well, before we discuss that, we need to get one thing clear. There's 12 female contestants and 8 male contestants. The gender ratio is clearly unbalanced, and while not a hard rule, most of these game show settings do tend to try to keep the gender ratio between the contestants as balanced as possible. This generally means that whenever one gender has more members than the others, then the member that has the more members will be targeted and have their membership slowly with it in order to keep the ratio balanced. For this reason, I believe that it only makes sense for the first boot of the season to be a girl. Now granted, by this logic, this means the first 4 boosts will have to be girls in order to even the ratio, but we're not here to talk about the potential elimination order, which sounds fun, but the point of who's likely to be the first to go home. So a girl needs to go in order to try even the gender ratio, because that's clearly the most important thing to focus on right now. Let's quickly look at the contestants themselves and see who's most likely to go. Starting things off, we have Ximena Santos. A moment of silence for all those who died of cringe from me trying to pronounce her name. Okay, moment's over. Ximena is your typical two-faced witch who pretends to be nice in public but is in fact a jerk. You know, very typical antagonist sort of stuff. After her, we have her partner in crime, Sophie. She's an influencer who's implied to have a darker side and has some insecurity regarding her popularity. After her, there's Tritz. She's nice, but most of her screen time besides doing that is setting herself up as a support character for Zack, her bro, acquaintance she just met recently. They're not related, especially not by blood. Then we have some double trouble with Cecilia and Elizabeth. There, in the simplest of terms, the dual drama inspired counterparts to Chloe and Sabrina from Miraculous Ladybug. Cecilia's a blonde witch prick who was like she's hot stuff, and Elizabeth's her spineless friend who sticks to her side despite her blatant abuse of her. After them, the next girl introduced is Akane, whose name we only find out when she and Jonathan arrive first at the camp. She's one of the two little set up for the teams, with the other being Jonathan. Then we have the season's established couple, which has our next female contestant, Victoria. She's very projective slash possessive of her boyfriend and doesn't like other girls interacting with him. After them, we have Kylie, who, if I may digress for a bit, has one of the more interesting designs among the contestants. The heterochrome is interesting, but Jado has white patches across her skin that make her really stand out among the crowd. And I totally didn't bring up her design because I don't know what else to say about her. Nope. Then everyone's favorite gesture arrives. Her name is Teddy. You may think she looks familiar, but I assure you it's all in your head. Anyway, she's fun. I like her. Melody is up next. She's a perfectly normal girl who also happens to speak at the speed of light. Then from the next duo of the season, we have the next female contestant, Amber. She's there. And finally, we have Melissa. She's a typical god, emo, black loving gal with a bad attitude. She's not the nicest person in the cast, but I don't think she's the worst either, at least so far. Now, since we have a lot of female contestants, who are the most likely to be beaten in my humble opinion? Well, before we do that, I think we should discuss who is safe first. I think we can all agree that Simina and Sophie are safe for now. They're clearly being set up to be major antagonists, at least on the contestant side, so having them go early could be seen as a waste. Even if they were early versus over expectations, I don't think either of them fits them all to be the very first. Between Simina's two-faced nature, Sophie's insecurity regarding her influencer status, and their shared crush on Jonathan, I feel like they have enough plot to at least last a while. Grace is also safe. She's set up to be the support character of the Zack story arc, and depending on how long that goes, she could stay for a decent while. I can see her lasting until merge at least. In the duel between Cecilia and Elizabeth, I think the latter's safe. She has a clear setup for a story arc ahead of her, and while it's nothing groundbreaking, I can count the shy and meek characters I've seen whose story arcs don't involve growing a spine or gaining more self-confidence to an extent in one hand. It's an art that works, especially if it's done right. I also think Akane is safe. One of the insists that the leaders themselves are immune to elimination in the team phase, making her a captain only for her to be eliminated first just seems like a waste of a character. Plus, with the implications she finds melodic cute and her clear animosity with Aiden, she has some staying power to her name. Victoria is the kind of character I wish would go first, because she seems very one-note. She's very possessive of her boyfriend, she doesn't want to be separated from him, and she doesn't want him to look at any other girls. And yet, I feel like these same traits mean she's safe for now. This girl's such a red flag that I don't see her surviving the pre-merge, but her boyfriend could definitely have a story about learning to let her go. Assuming Victoria herself doesn't have a story where she realizes over like she's acting and she wouldn't replicate the relationship to work on herself. Kylie I thought could last long because she finds out Tret and Zack are sibling who race to the camp, but Christina's boss is revealed on her own very quickly when the teams are forming, so that's not helpful at all. That being said, she does mention knowing how to take care of kids, so I think she'll stick around her to provide some stability for her team. So in this section, Terry was actually my original pick as an answer to this question because she's a clear reference to something else and otherwise doesn't seem to have much going on with her. Then I watch the Paladin fall, and when I don't think she's making merge, she's not going anywhere. The glare she gave Catboy over his prank shows a clear setup for a combat between these two, and even without that, she seems to have like a hidden dark side that could only be revealed later down the line. Again, I don't think she's making merge, but she's definitely staying for a bit. Now, since we discussed who's safe, it's time to have some fun and wonder who's in danger of getting the boot. Remember what I said about Elizabeth having a clear story arc ahead of her? Yeah, Cecilia's the exact opposite. From the moment she shows up, she proves herself to be the typical stuck-up rich jerk who sees herself as being above everyone else. Her screen time links her almost exclusively with Elizabeth, outside of a slight trust to Jonathan, which is highly that will go anywhere since she shows clear distaste for her nastier personality, so she's definitely on the chopping block. After her, there's Amber, and I'll be the first to admit that placing her here is a bit unfair since she's only really here because she doesn't have any setup for a storyline going forward, unlike her male counterpart being part of Zack's storyline. Considering how most of the other characters have at least either some setup or even context clues that give them some degree of longevity, this means that Amber sticks to like a sore thumb among the female contestants. That being said, I do feel like she might gain something to do later on, but as of now, she doesn't seem to have anything going on, so she's not safe from elimination. Then we have Melody. I kinda seem plan flashing to her aside, Melody doesn't have a lot of setup for a story of her own. She's just the normal girl who happens to talk a lot like animals. I can see a kinda keeping her around in case her attachment to her gets developed, and her having a connection to animals might prove useful in the right challenges, but she also doesn't seem to have a lot to go on, so she's on the chopping block. And finally, Melissa. Yes, the Bradley guy wants to talk to her, and if she survives, this could lead her to her lower halls and become her to at least him. Here's the problem. She's kind of a jerk. She's kind of sorry to do her entire screen time in the final. She doesn't seem like the kind of person to try to get closer to people on her own. I can definitely see how an accounting butting heads regarding what to do, and if Akane can't stand Aiden, who's a similarly sour individual, I don't think she'll stand Melissa either. Her style on the two can also cause her social game to think, and social gaming is a big component of the team phase. If she doesn't get her stuff together, Melissa could be in danger. Now that we have our 4 potential first boots, 2 from each team as an added bonus, which of them are likely to go? Well, on the side of the Furious Bears, we have Cecilia and Amber. I feel like Cecilia's the one going home if this team loses the next episode. Give Amber some credit. Her quiet and calm nature does imply she generally keeps to herself and will try to make enemies, and her connection to Drake could help her get added to his storyline, which could give her some longevity. Cecilia, meanwhile, has an attitude that could easily alienate her from the rest of her team. Given Elizabeth's implied story arc as well as the fact that Cecilia is almost entirely linked to her, there's only a matter of time before she snaps and throws her supposed friend down the bus. And from the other team, the Fierce Wolves, we have Melody and Melissa. I feel like Melissa has to be the first boot if this team loses. Yes, Melody doesn't have much going on herself, but a kind of strategy to her might convince her to try to keep Melody around, and if her animal connection manages to help in a challenge, that'll be a bonus. Melissa, meanwhile, doesn't give anything to the team other than sassiness, and Akane doesn't even have any reason to keep her around if she decides to get snippet with her. Unless Bradley manages to get her to come out of her shell, she's going home. So I'm locking it in. If the Furious Bears lose, Cecilia's going home, and if the Fierce Wolves lose instead, Melissa's heading home in her place. Anyway, that's it for me today. What did you guys think of the video? Did you like it? Did you not? Did you think I might be onto something or will someone else be the first boot? Let me know in the comments down below. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night, everyone. Oh, and be sure to check out the drama games on Mr. Wolf's channels. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Peace out.